First, we will share a letter from our brother Shawn behind the walls of Cheshire Correctional Institute, who speaks to the rise of COVID-19 in the facility, DOC employees' abuse, and inmate pay. The letter reads, I'm writing to you concerning the COVID-19 situation at Cheshire Correctional Institution. Currently, inmates in South Block 2 are only allowed out their cells for 30 minutes a day and night, while COs sit around sleeping in the block, eating, texting, and talking on their cell phones. It's like the prisoners are being punished on top of the COs spreading this deadly virus. I've spent nearly 3 decades in prison. I've watched COs literally get away with murder behind these walls, and no one cares. Let's be honest, no one cares, because nearly 85% of prisoners are of color. If the percentage was reversed, it'd be a different story. COs have come into this prison and into other prisons and infected prisoners with COVID-19, murdered over 18 prisoners, and nearly murdered a countless of others. To add insult to injury, they're locking us in cells for 23 hours a day. This affects prisoners' emotional and mental health, but they are allowing prisoners to go out of their cells and work for private industry jobs, so it's safe for inmates to work private industry jobs. But after that, it's back to the cell, and whoever does not have such a job is only let out of their cells for 30 minutes in the day and at night. Just imagine being locked in a cell for 23 hours a day. Before COVID-19, they were locking prisoners in 22 hours a day here at Cheshire CI. They wouldn't even provide meaningful TV programming for prisoners, just 8 channels. Something has to change for prisoners. COs are killing us in here. With this COVID-19, now they are locking us in the cells longer than 23 hours a day. But if I have a private industry job, making the state money, I can leave my cell from 8:30 till 2 p.m. How inhumane is this? If I spread a deadly virus, I'd be charged with a crime. The state has contact tracing, so the state has the resource to finding out how this deadly virus was allowed to spread here at Cheshire CI and cause prisoners' lives. This should be at the top of the state's list, as well as the DOC's list to find out how this virus spread in Connecticut prisons the way that it did. Since political leaders and prison officials are against releasing prisoners, then find out who's responsible for this tragedy. I would also like to mention inmate pay. If you look at the tri-state New England prison system, Connecticut prisoners are paid the least. However, Connecticut DOC commissary prices continue to rise on the average. When an inmate is lucky enough to get a prison job, he's paid 75 cents a day. A bar of soap on commissary costs 77 cents plus tax. Therefore, in all reality, that prisoner has to work 2 days just to afford that bar of soap. When you look into my claims, which I pray you do, DOC officials will likely claim that I am one of Connecticut DOC's most problematic inmates. However, I have not said one lie in this letter. The DOC will point to my convictions which led me to prison or numerous write-ups. But facts are facts. This is not about my conviction or about my actions while in prison. But make no mistake, I can defend both on any given day. Moreover, after numerous complaints, DOC officials have added 15 minutes to the 30 minutes out of the cell time, bringing it to 45 minutes out of the cell, which still does nothing for prisoners' emotional and mental health. Keep in mind that general population prisoners are being treated like this. Prisoners who broke no rules work in private industry and other prison jobs. Yet DOC officials just lock us in a cell all day and night while COs sleep, eat, text, and talk on their cell phones on the job in the housing unit. Please pay close attention to how difficult it'd be for prisoners to afford to pay for these items if not for the help from family and friends. Just like phone prices, the state takes advantage of the poorest of the state of Connecticut. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Shawn.
Next, we will discuss what is occurring behind the walls for people inside across the country. In February, those incarcerated at City Justice Center, a jail in St. Louis, Missouri, rose up to protest the jail's brutal conditions and mishandling of COVID-19 safety protocols. More than 100 people took over 2 units at CJC at 2:30 a.m. on Saturday, February 6. They held the facility for 6 hours. This was the third protest led by people inside since December. Tracy Stanton, an activist working with Expo, ex-incarcerated people organizing, said those incarcerated were demanding proper PPE, proper clothing, proper heat, and proper visits from their families. On February 17th, a whole tier of those incarcerated at Angola Penitentiary in the Solitary Unit launched a hunger strike in response to unlawful and excessive detention and solitary confinement and other forms of brutal treatment. Prison officials threatened to mace them on the first day, but they persisted. There is no heat in the prison, and those inside are only given a jumpsuit and a sheet. The organizers of the strike asked that all their names be made public so that no one could be singled out for retaliation. It's like mental torture, said Frederick Ross, one of the incarcerated people on the hunger strike. 8 months I haven't seen any sunlight. Before the Civil War, the state prison was once an 18,000-acre plantation called Angola Plantation. The plantation took the name Angola from the country of Angola, where many of the enslaved people in Louisiana were taken from. The history showed clearly the evolution of racism and punishment in America, from the plantation to the prison.
In this segment, we want you to know